Welcome back everyone to George James & Associates Research Tools channel. In this video, I'm going to address several areas in this little mini-series on data cleaning that you're going to encounter. And the first one is creating unique identifiers for your data in place of names. Because when you collect the data, depending on how you do it, you may have names, which is, in this case, what happened here is that my fellow researchers and I collected data. We obtained names, participant names, and so one of the first things you have to do, probably the first thing you should do, is anonymize your data. So you need a way to remove the names and instead supply unique identifiers. So that way, each observation is unique, but you don't know who is who. And neither you will know that, neither your collaborators, your readership, the journal reviewers, your boss, nobody. No one will know who is who, and that's the way it should be. That's an integral part of the IRB process. So the first thing you want to do is you want to select all the names, and then you want to go over here to the fill tool, select the drop-down menu, and select black. I'm not going to do it because it's going to go to white and it's going to flash the names. I'm not going to do that. But I'm pretty sure you know how to use the fill tool, so you just use the fill tool and it redacts out the names so that you can't see them. And you may be wondering, well, why in the world at this point do you not just delete the names column? Good question. The reason for that is because in the event that you were able to collect other characteristics of your data, so here I'll give you an example. In this data set, as it stands, we have undergraduate and graduate, but we don't have student standing. So I don't know who in here is a sophomore versus a senior versus a whatever. If we decide, and we can decide to go elsewhere in like our grade rosters and things like that and collect those data. And I already told the IRB I was going to do that anyways, but it wasn't included. I didn't include a question about that in the survey. So if you have something like that where you can go elsewhere to another source and you can include further characteristics of your data, then you're going to need to figure out, because you're going to be analyzing and moving the columns around or the rows around and things like that. So when that happens, you're going to want to set your data back to the initial point, which is what it's in right now. Now, how do you do that? Well, you create without knowing the name, right? Without unredacting the names. You're going to have to unredact the names for yourself if you're the one that's cleaning the data. So that way you can create the student standing or student ranking or whatever the column is. And so, but after that, or I should say before that, how do you get the students back into the original part? And so that's what I want to show you. And at the same time, how to anonymize your data set. So the way that you do that is I went ahead and I just Googled random ID generator. It brought me to Brins.net as the first hit that Google produced. And so here you can put in how many IDs you need, right? So we have 302 observations, so I would put in 302. I don't care about prefixes or suffixes, but if you really wanted to, like if you're going to ultimately combine your data sets and you wanted to do this, let's say from school 1, school 2, school 3, school 4, right? Or neighborhood 1, neighborhood 2, neighborhood 3. Each neighborhood, you could put a standard prefix or suffix or something like that in there, right? If you were going to, that would be good for the prefix. For the suffix, let's say that you were going to interview a whole bunch of, I don't know, medical professionals or something, and you wanted to split out, you wanted to assign unique identifiers that indicated like medical doctor, so MD, versus nurse practitioner, NP, versus physician's assistant, PA, right? Or a DO, or any of these things. So then you could line up your data based on who is who, and then you could put in the standard suffixes. And you would do this, for instance, again, if you had collected the data in tranches, in groups, you didn't have that as a variable in your data. I don't know why you would do that. I would just put create a variable in my data. But in the event that you didn't do that, you could then run the number of IDs needed for all the MDs, and the standard suffix would be MD. And then you could do the same thing for DOs or PAs or NPs or whatever. All right, so then the number of random alphanumeric digits. I just put 8 because I don't really care. And this gives you an example. I like them to be lowercase. It's just more nondescript. And so then you hit generate, which I already did, and then it creates this. And so then, right, you just come over here and then you just highlight all these down, right? And then you're going to copy, I think I did 303 the first time, so I'm going to copy all of them except for one. Yeah, so then you hit Control C, and then you just copy them in. Now, what you want to do actually is you want to go to this sheet, and you want to copy them in. And then once you copy them in, you want to go over here to Filter and Sort. Click on that, Sort A to Z. That gives you the alphabetized version, right? So this is alphabetized. Then you copy that to here, and then lo and behold, once you do that, the alphabetized, the names aren't alphabetized, but the names are in the order in which you collected the data initially, in which however you collected the data, spit it out. So that's a good way. So that way, anytime in the future, I can just go to column B here, and I can do sort and filter, sort A to Z, and it'll return the data set to its original form, which is what it's in now. So that's all I wanted to cover in this first video. Look out for subsequent videos in the data cleaning mini set. And thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.